Hello and welcome into another episode of Cravin' Some Raven. And in this episode, I'm going to be previewing the Baltimore Ravens Week 1 matchup versus the Dolphins. Yes, holy hell, it feels so good to say Week 1. Are you kidding me? This is crazy. It's about goddamn time. You with me? Now my voice sounds a little bit different. It's because I am a little bit under the weather. I wanted to get this podcast out last night after the football game. I was going to record because I knew I was going to be working all of Friday and Saturday, so I figured I'd want to record it on Thursday night, so that way people can listen to it on Friday during the day while they're still at work doing the thing, and they can listen while they're working and stuff. Because people don't really download or watch as much on the weekends, which I thought is kind of weird. So when people are at work, they listen more. That's true. That's what I do. If it's the weekend, I'm doing something else. But if it's during work, I need something in my ears. I need something to keep me distracted from bullshit of the day. That's started getting sick. You know when you get like the hot spit and you can feel it. Your throat's starting to get a little. I was getting that, and last night I could definitely feel it. It was real bad. And woke up feeling like garbage, coughing up a lung. Didn't feel crazy sick. Just my throat was feeling awful. So I thought I had to go to work. So I went to work. Had to finish these parts. Someone else could have handled what I was doing, but then they're gonna call you. What's with this? What's with this? What's with this? I might as well just go in, be a trooper, finish them up, and then leave. And then it's like, man, my throat started feeling better. Just started ODing on like some tea and some vitamin C. Just started like ODing on it. So my throat feels better actually. But now I'm like, I feel the sickness. I always get like this weird feeling in my back, like in my spine, like someone's like injecting sickness into my spine, because it comes around in like waves. All of a sudden it's like, whoa, what is that? What is that? It's a weird feeling. I don't know if anybody else gets that. It's like a weird sensation. Almost feels like, it is a spinal cord. It almost feels like someone has their finger on the cord, just tugging at it a little bit. Like every once in a while, it just comes up, doesn't pluck it, just tugs it a little bit, because it's such a weird sensation. It's similar to like, have you ever had like a long hair, like in your crotch area? Bear with me, it'll make sense. I have long hair, so it just sheds kind of everywhere. If you got a girlfriend, hair just kind of gets everywhere. And you see hair like near your crotch and you pull it, and for whatever reason it's like caught in your butt cheeks or something, and it freaks you out because you pull this hair and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, what is that? It's like pulling on your butt and it confuses you for a second, but it's like that weird tugging feeling. It's similar to that. So hopefully I can get through this. Hopefully my voice is able to hold up. It feels deeper. I don't know if it's coming through as deeper, but I love the sickness deep voice, because I wish every time I got sick, the voice would stay there, and then next time I got sick, a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper, till eventually, you're 80 years old and you got like a subwoofer voice where all you can do is like talk to fucking whales or something, because they're the only ones that can respond in that subtone. Anyways, so, I guess I will break down the game. I just want to talk about sickness. Through sickness and in health, I will relay this podcast. So, it's week 1. It's finally here. I don't know if you got a chance to watch that Thursday night game, because that was just some hot garbage. And, I think that was a game to prove why you need preseason. You need to work out the kinks of your offense. And both teams have pretty good defenses. But come on, 10-3. Usually one team's scoring at some point, both the Bears and the Packers, I think both of them, their quarterbacks didn't play at all during the preseason. I think you need a lot of time in the preseason, because you need that time, that cohesion. You can only do so much in practice, because once the game's flying, once everyone's 100%, it's different. In practice, the defense isn't allowed to hit the quarterback, so you don't really get that live action. So I think that's definitely a case, like a lawyer. I imagine they're going to debate this, like with the CBA, the lawyers going to be like, example one, week one, Thursday night, Packers versus Bears. That was a shit show. That was terrible. But you know what? I came out on the winning side because I bet $5 on the Packers. So we're off to a good start. We're 1-0 on the season, baby. I do predictions on each and every game, and those episodes come out on Tuesday because I will be recording on Monday. So I won't really know with the Monday night games if I will win those bets or not. So that will have to be determined. But as of now, I'm 1-0, off to a good start. It's better to start off 1-0 and then 0-1. So I guess, like I said, I was going to get into the game. I guess I'll get into that now because we are playing the Miami Dolphins. There was thoughts of the game might being delayed or what's going to happen because of that storm, but it's looking like everything's going to be fine. Weather-wise, we're not going to have any issues. It just might be a little hot and humid, it's Florida, so it's always hot and humid. Nothing too out of the ordinary. But we will be having the game. Hopefully, no weather delays, and hopefully everybody comes out and shows out, and hopefully we don't have a lot of hopefullys. But I am hoping we don't have the same issues as the Packers or the Bears. We come out full bore. We've been practicing. We've hit the preseason right. We've been putting in the work, and hopefully it comes together without any mistakes. Now, I want to say this is going to be a good game. Because I hate predicting blowouts because it's the NFL and that it's never works that way. But I really just don't see how the Dolphins can win this game. I know I drink the purple Kool-Aid and I'm all about the Ravens. And if you talk about any other team, for me, it's like, yeah, that's cool. I don't care about your team, bro. I don't care about your team. I care about the Ravens. It's really it. I'm craving some Raven. It's not craving some Dolphins. Because if I did, I'd be in jail, right? Because isn't it illegal to eat dolphins unless you're in Asia somewhere? So, I'm craving some Raven, and I think this team is going to be good. Not only because of my homer status and my purple Kool-Aid drinking total, but because I genuinely think this is going to be a good team. Now, the Miami Dolphins, for all intents and purposes, are tanking. They are perceived to be tanking. Now, whether they are or are not, all the signs point towards yes, they are tanking. They barely had any talent on the offensive line, and they ended up trading away Laramie Tunsil like 2 weeks, or no, not even, like a week and a half before the first game. No, a week before, if that. A couple days before their first home opener game. So basically, what I would say is one of their top 5 players is being traded right before the season starts. So you're game planning with this guy in mind, and yet then you go ahead and trade him with Kenny Stills. I don't know how important Kenny Stills is to them, how good he actually is. I'm not 100% sure on that. But they're getting rid of valuable players on their squad right before the first game. That's not how to win games. And frankly, our offense our defense, I think is going to have a field day. I can see 6+ sacks. I don't know what the over-under is. I don't even know if they do prop bets like that for every game. But if they did, and if it's set at 6, I'd go with the over. Fitzpatrick, he is an older quarterback, so maybe he can get rid of the ball quickly. But I just think with our players, our depth of players, so everyone's going to be fresh. Our scheme with Dominic Martindale, I think it's going to be a deadly combo for Fitzpatrick. And even if he doesn't get sacks, hopefully he throws some interceptions. Now, like I was kind of saying, it's Fitzmagic, right? You don't know. He could go off. He could end up throwing 400 yards. We don't know. The beginning of last year, he went off. He beat the Saints. The Saints didn't really have as good of a defense as us, and I think he had more talent around him at the Buccaneers. So I guess he's staying in Florida. Wonder if he has the same house. But he is Fitzpatrick, and you got to be worried about it. But really, do you? I mean, like, thinking that Fitzpatrick is going to show up, have those miracle performances. That's why they called it Fitzmagic, because it was super improbable that he was able to do it then. It's even more unlikely that he's going to do it now. So you're hoping like, oh well, we got Fitzmagic. He's gonna kill you guys, bro. You're hoping on miracles, and miracles don't always come. Maybe it does. I just highly doubt that it does. And even if it does, the rest of the team, the rest of the Dolphins, frankly doesn't stack up to the Ravens. I think the Dolphins, their best unit is the secondary. I like Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I like Xavier Howard. The hell? Things going off. I think they got a very good secondary. But, once again, you match it up head-to-head with the Ravens, our secondary is still better. Like if you match up every single aspect of their team, I think we come out as better. But you never know. Any given Sunday, you don't want to overlook any opponent because they can come out and kick some ass. I mean, the Dolphins, they are based off of big plays, big yards after catch. So the Ravens got to make sure they wrap up. So I'm looking at this game. I'm looking at Kenny Young, hopefully not playing because he's out of everybody on the defense. He worries me the most when it comes to wrapping up and allowing that big play. Let's say he's covered on a tight end. Let's say the tight end catches it and it's like 15 yards downfield. Whatever, it sucks. But get him down. But that's not what Kenny Young does. Kenny Young does not know how to wrap up. Now he has some big hits. He's done some crazy things in the preseason. He's looked good at some points, but he's also looked bad. So, looking for a Tara Lockett to step up. I like him. Haven't really seen Chris Board in a couple weeks, so I don't really know what I'm getting with him. Eye test wise, maybe he is better, but so far just looking at the game with my own two eyes, I'm liking Otaro Laka next to Peanut. And then we got Earl Thomas back there, going to play a full game. I'm thinking we can get to Fitzpatrick. We're going to force some errant throws, and I think Fitzpatrick is going to throw an interception to Earl Thomas, maybe to Sean Elliott. I think we get 2 interceptions this game, no joke. And I think we have good field position all game because I don't see the Dolphins being able to do much. Maybe they just throw it up every single down, just throw it deep, and they might get some yards on us. But I genuinely think they might not score more than 10 points. I genuinely think that. The Ravens, they usually start off fast. Now that's a Joe Flacco-led team, so we'll see with Lamar. But the Ravens in general throughout history under John Harbaugh have started out the season pretty hot. It's usually around October when they start playing like ass, and it's like, why are you losing to these teams? So we'll have to see when we get to that point if that was a Joe Flacco thing or that's a Harbaugh thing, just a Ravens thing in general, because teams have identities and teams kind of have a certain aura around them. They can change here and there. They can get better, they can get worse, but there usually is kind of like this identity thing with teams. So hopefully Lamar Jackson can kind of continue that, starting off fast, and especially in his hometown. Him and Hollywood Brown, they're coming home. They're having a homecoming. So I'm thinking they're going to show out because usually when players play in front of their hometown, they usually get like a bump. They usually get the lots of friends and family there bump. Excuse me. I gotta blow my nose. Oh, goddamn. Being sick, recording a podcast. What are you doing today? That's what I'm doing. So, yeah. So it is going to be a homecoming for these guys. Like I said, they're going to get that friends and family discount, that bump. So I think Hollywood, we didn't see much from him in the preseason, just a little bit of action in that one game. But I think he gets involved early and often. And I think him and Lamar combined, and it's going to be the story coming out of this game. So, yeah, I'm thinking two turnovers, two interceptions specifically. If I'm making predictions here, I probably should have segmented this up into offense, defense, predictions. But I'm just gonna go with it. It's gonna be all scattered. So I'm thinking two interceptions, and I'm looking for Marquise Brown about 80 yards and a touchdown, and Lamar Jackson. I'm thinking first game of the year, Jackson 5. It's going to be a Jackson 5 game. And I'm talking 3 touchdowns passing, 2 touchdowns rushing. High hopes, I know. But he's going to throw some touchdowns. A, B, C. Easy as 1, 2, 3. A, B, C. That's how easy Lamar's touchdowns can be. Remix. I think a Jackson 5 game, that is going to happen this year at some point. And I think that starts today. The Dolphins just don't have that good a defense, or especially defensive line. I think we're going to have excellent field position all day because our defense is going to stop them. And so I think, like I said, I know that their secondary, that the Dolphins secondary is their strength, but I also feel that their defensive line is trash. Now they do have Wilkins. Wilkins. I can't remember exactly how you say his last name, but the dude from Clemson. Now I think he's a very good player, very adequate NFL starter. I don't know if Pro Bowl or anything like that, but he is a rookie and he's the only guy that is of note, really. I'm not really looking at their team. Just because I don't recognize them doesn't mean they're not good. It's just no one's vaunted them as one of the top defensive lines. I'd say most people would say that they're at the bottom of the NFL when it comes to defensive line play. And our team, our offense, supposedly is going to be built on the run. So I think, we are just going to pound it down their throats to the point where they're going to have to, stack the box. And I think Lamar is going to be able to throw over them, throw some 30-yard passes straight into the end zone, because I think we're going to start every single drive right around that 50-yard mark. And it's all, can we move the ball enough to get into the end zone, or will we just get field goals? And I'm hoping with Lamar in the game, with the way the offense is hopefully able to move it with the new look and everything, I hope they'll be able to move it far enough that Jackson can toss it into the end zone to some open guys. And I think Marquise Brown is going to be one of those, just because he's so quick, he's always open. Just watch Baldinger's breakdown of it. As a Ravens fan, you love to see that kind of stuff. Watching him, getting the coach's film basically, and watching him every play. He may not get the ball, but you can see where he's going to be effective. And honestly, you could pass to him every single down because he was open on every single play. But so return home, huge game, and that's usually how it works with people. So there's just so many things going for the Ravens and going against the Dolphins that even though the Dolphins are at home, and you could say, hey, they're playing in Miami. It's going to be very hot. They are used to it. But like I said, they've gotten rid of a bunch of players, so they're going to have players starting in there that haven't been conditioned, I guess. You can't see my air quotes, but conditioned to what the Miami Dolphins can do. Now, I do think it is an advantage, but I don't think it's as much of an advantage as it would normally be. Just because, it gets hot and humid in Maryland too. Let's not forget that. And when they were up in Philadelphia, those practices were hot and humid. So if they can handle that, I think they'll be able to hold up in Miami. Now, it is the first game, so I think starters across the board may not be able to hold up throughout the game. They might get tired, might need to get some breaks, so there might be some more second-team players in than usual. But that goes for the Dolphins too. I think that's just an all-around thing. They have been trying to get in shape, get ready throughout practice this whole time through training camp. But once it's live actions, once it's basically like you're running sprints every single play, you will get tired, especially in the heat and early on in the season. I think it got a little bit more weight on you. Before, like towards the end of the season, you drop weight a little bit because it's more kind of condition trained. You're not trying to build muscle as much during the week. You're just going over game plan, making sure your body's right. And so I think you lose a little bit of weight, thus making you better conditioned during the game. So yeah, really the only thing that I would be nervous about is everyone saying that the Ravens are going to win, because that's never good. In the NFL, if everyone's agreeing on something, it's usually wrong. If it's that's it right there, everybody knows, then it's usually wrong. And in this case, that makes me nervous. That makes me nervous anytime it happens. Last night when I was watching the game, pregame, everyone was picking the Bears, and I had picked the Packers on my pick'ems. Put $5 on it. You know the rules. So put $5 on it. But then I'm seeing the pregame coverage, and all of them are picking the Bears, and I'm like, yep, this is gonna be. Don't forget, that's Aaron Rodgers over there. Mitchell Trubisky isn't as good, and the Bears, they just weren't in sync, and they passed the ball some like 40 odd times. And I got David Montgomery in 2 of my fantasy leagues, and frankly, I think he's their best offensive player. Okay, Mitch Trubisky, not that good. Tariq Cohen, good, but he's just not an every down back. And I think David Montgomery, they really should have used him more. They only passed it to him once. They really need to use him more. He made the most of his efforts. He might have had the longest play, or at least the most clutch play on that 3rd down. But bro, come on, just Bears, get it to David Johnson. Because I saw the team in the preseason, the first quarter, and it's like, okay, David Johnson's definitely the best running back. Okay, David Johnson's probably your best player on offense. This is a professional football team, and Nagy is a offensive mind, so he's definitely going to give him the ball, right? He's definitely smarter than me when it comes to football, so he's definitely going to do the normal, right, obvious thing, right? Wrong. Motherfucker did not have him involved at all. And the Bears, I don't think, will be good until they start involving David Montgomery. Okay? If the Bears want to have success this season, they're going to have to get David Montgomery involved. This isn't really about the Ravens right now, but I'm just sorry, because I got him on my fantasy team, and I'm kind of pissed off that they don't realize this. They make so much money to make the wrong fucking decisions when it comes to their football team. So I'm really hoping the Bears wise up and use Dave Montgomery so I can get some fantasy value, and because the team's going to be better with him. It's not just selfish. I'm just trying to help you out, Bears. Okay. But yeah, it's similar to that. Like with the Dolphins, like Kenyon Drake, man, I feel so sorry for him. He is a very explosive back. I'm a huge fan of Kenyon Drake's, especially coming out of Alabama. I was concerned. He seemed like he was more of a skinny guy, just a big play guy. But he got into Miami and he was making plays. But he's stuck on that just shit roster, man. I just feel bad. The Dolphins have just been trashed for the longest time, and the Ravens they always play the Dolphins very well. It's always like a terrible game to watch. Like towards the 4th quarter, it's like, all right, we get it, we're winning. Can we just be done already? Can we just get the stat line? I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about the Dolphins. I don't know if it was Joe Flacco having a grudge against the Dolphins. I don't know if it's John Harbaugh has a grudge against the Dolphins. I don't know why. I guess didn't Harbaugh go to Miami in college? Even though it's Miami, Ohio, maybe he has resentment towards regular Miami, just because Miami, Ohio. It's like, Miami, Ohio, what a joke. And so he's tired. He's tired of being made fun of for being at Miami, Ohio. So he's going to take it to Miami, really stick it to him, I guess. That's theory, I guess. We'll stick to that one, and that's why. And really, the Ravens play that whole division pretty well, even including the Patriots. We wreck the Bills. I think we probably have the hardest time playing the Jets. But even though we've blown out the Jets before, the the Ravens North, the Jets, the New York Ravens, just because they have so many ex-Ravens. The trimmings of our roster go to the Jets. That's what they do. Yeah, so if we were in New England's position, we would be in the playoffs every fucking year too. And eventually you're going to get to the Super Bowl, and eventually you're going to win it if you're always in the playoffs, right? I think we would have the squad to do it. If we were in that division, oh, hell yeah, we would have a dynasty as well. I think most decent teams, if they were in that division, in the Patriots' position, would have at least one Super Bowl, an extra Super Bowl. Because we're always whooping up on those teams. And so you'd think like, oh, well, it's a divisional opponent. Maybe it's harder for the Patriots. No, they see them more. They know them more. And they sometimes get beat. And that's why we sometimes beat the Patriots. Because, let's face it, it's all fluff. No, just kidding. They're winning the Super Bowl this year. The Patriots are. And I want everybody to say that because it's going to do like a reverse psychology type thing where, last year everyone said, oh, they're not going to do it. They're looking good. It's finally Brady hit the last leg. This is it. And then they go out and win. So I think everybody should just proclaim that the Patriots are going to win, make them guaranteed Super Bowl locks. So that way they don't win. I'm pretty sure that's how it works, okay? Because there's some kind of magic around football where weird stuff like that works, okay? So the Dolphins basically just trashed for so long. Since Marino left, really. I don't know if they've even made the playoffs. No, they definitely have. We played them in the playoffs. But like I said, we always play them well, even if they have a better squad. We just somehow just wreck them. And so that coupling with the fact that they are tanking, basically, maybe not so tanking, but not trying to keep their best players, let's say. You just say it that way, tanking. It's not tanking. We're just trying to get rid of our good players so that we can rebuild. Okay, whatever. So all those factors, they are at home, but there's not much of a home field advantage because we got our quarterback, our second-year quarterback in Lamar, going home. We got our top draft pick, Hollywood Brown, going home. I think Willie Snead is from there as well. There's a lot of players from Florida, so it's how much of a homecoming is it? We're gonna have a lot of Ravens fans there, and a lot of Lamar and Hollywood fans. So there's gonna be a lot of yelling, a lot of noise when the Ravens come up with a good play. So I don't see it being much of a home field advantage for him, which is really the only thing that got going for him in this game, just looking at it face value. And the over-under was set at 37.5. And I put money on the money line for the Ravens to win and parlayed that with the over of 37.5, which was the lowest over-under line that was this week. And I'm thinking the Ravens, like I said, Lamar, a Jackson 5 game, I'm thinking they go off. I think it's Lamar's first time on the field. I think that offense is going to be clicking. No one's seen it yet. So I think, they're going to not only surprise the Dolphins, but the Dolphins just aren't up to par on the defensive side of the ball. So I think the Ravens just come out in dominating fashion. I'm looking to see RG3 play. Because he didn't get much time in the preseason, and I think if we hit the over, if we're up 37-0, 37-6, I think he comes in. I think RG3 comes in, tries to basically get some practice reps because he didn't get any time in the preseason due to that thumb injury, and apparently he's full go. Trace McSorley already got enough. He already got enough time, so. Look, I'm looking to see, if things go right, RG3 will be playing. Yeah, that's a good prediction. And I'm hoping all three quarterbacks are activated. Because when it comes to, or are they going to do trick plays? And it's always, we could have Trace McSorley in there, and he can be that Taysom Hill role with two quarterbacks. That's cool. With the trick plays, why only two quarterbacks? If you got three activated, why not come up with the trick play with three quarterbacks? Oh, now you're getting crazy. Now you're getting crazy, Steven. No, I am. Think about it. Imagine if you did a double reverse with quarterbacks. Okay, you got Trace McSorley at the white, all the way on the the right side. I guess he is white, and then RG3 with the black. No, on the left. So you got your both your quarterbacks in the wide receiver positions. Maybe Trace is in the slot. Maybe RG3 is the wide receiver on the other side. So Lamar gets it in the shotgun, tosses it to Trace McSorley, who's cutting left, running full speed. And he gets it to Trace, and then Trace bounces it to RG3, and then from there he can decide, do I want to run, or do I want to just hurl a bomb all the way to Marquise Brown, who's had time now to get like 60 yards down the field. And I think, you do a double reverse with two quarterbacks. You're already, if you're getting two quarterbacks in there, might as well bump it up some more and get three quarterbacks. Who's passing it? Who's running it? Because all of these guys can run. All of our quarterbacks can run. So, but all of them are dual threats. Like, why not get crazy with it? So, yeah, if I'm going to put a final score as my prediction, I am going to say 42-6. I don't like making a prediction like that, but you know what? Fuck it. It's the first of the year. Let's go out with a bang. I think we hit the over. We get the win. That's really all that matters. I don't care if my predictions on the score of the game is right. I just hope that I win some money. So I guess that's going to do it. But I do want to talk about something else, because I listen to a lot of Ravens podcasts. I listen to all of them, really, generally. And I really started this podcast because all of them stopped recording and coming out with episodes over the off season. It's like, God damn it, I want to hear some more Ravens content. And there's like the draft's going on, so it's like I'll just cover the draft like crazy because I love the draft, and no one else, and I want it to be like Ravens specific, because some players, it's like they just don't fit our scheme. The Ravens will never draft them because of off the field issues or this, that, and the other, whatever reason. I just want to do like Ravens specific draft kind of stuff in podcast form. And so I still listen to all of them. That's how I get through work, just listen to hours and hours of Ravens content in my ear holes. God, fuck this sickness, okay? I got raped by some kind of germs, all right? I said no. No means no, pathogens or whatever entered my body without permission. Hashtag me too, okay? Or should I say, pound me too? Which, what a great name for a movement, right? Pound me too. Isn't that what they're going against? I don't even know what the point of that movement is. Because it's like, hey, I love bacon. Hey, hashtag me too. I also love bacon. Like, wait, me too? Me as well. Me as well. But I don't want to get too political. But I am getting raped by a sickness right now. And where's my movement? Huh? Can I get on Twitter and hashtag my body? Because these germs are raping me without consent. Because it's okay if they rape me with consent. These germs, right? just take that clip, and it's going to be the death of me on Twitter. Even though I deleted Twitter, so you can't get me now. Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh, yes, listening to Ravens podcasts. So I kept hearing all of them. They were talking about the roster cutdowns, talking about the Miami Dolphins game. Love it, love all of it. But all of them kept saying that they were shocked by the Willie Henry. That was the biggest cut. And I think it was the biggest cut. But I wasn't surprised. And I'm surprised that people were surprised. Maybe one aspect of it is I'm surprised that the Ravens did the right thing when it came to, overlooking name and draft spot of a player, money-wise, overlooking that and just looking at play on the field. Maybe from that perspective, you could say you're shocked. But none of them were saying that. All of them were saying, I thought he was going to make this team, and using stats and using this, using that. And I'm over here like, did y'all watch the game? Were y'all watching? Because I kept saying, Willie Henry's going to have to do more. I understand after the first week, it's like, all right, He's just got to do a little bit more. He's got to come in the second game. Not everyone's going to have a great game every game. So I was hoping he's going to come in and improve, but, he didn't. And then he didn't again. And then he didn't again. So while these guys are surprised that he didn't make the team, I'm just like, I'm watching this football game, and there's no way he's making this team. He didn't do enough. Did he do anything, really? He maybe got a tackle this whole preseason. I get it. He was pegged to be a breakout star, but it's not surprising he got cut. Shocking, maybe? I don't know. But surprise, I guess it's a little bit different. Because I guess shocking is more, wow, they did that. Surprise is like, I didn't think they were going to do that. But I think it goes to show, because a lot of his stats that people were pointing to was, I guess, like percentage of sacks while he's on the field. And, that's why I hate stats, because really, he might have been only in on throwing down. So it's like, okay, maybe these stats are kind of skewed. But they kind of argued it that the stats aren't really skewed that way. No matter how you really stack them up, there's just more sacks when he's on the field. Whether that's him or not, it could be both. Could be coincidence, could be it is him. But, you're not producing. You're not going to make this team. It's an meritocracy, right? Americatocracy. Welcome to America. Which, yeah, so I was just not surprised that he made the team. I was just, I guess I'll just say it anyways. I was thinking about America and it being like a defensive team. Like, the America is like a football team, right? It's a way to win a game in football. So it's like World War II. We're just trying to end this thing. What we do is we go out in the first quarter. Like, this is American history. We come out in the first quarter, drop 2 bombs, put some points up on the board, and we've just been playing defense ever since, right? We've just been sitting back, playing the field position game, right? We sink, as a country, we sink a lot of money into the defense department. So, we got good corners, we got good linebackers, we got a good defensive line. I'd say our defensive line is the deepest in the league, in the world. No one's getting past that. No one's going to hit us on our home turf. We are undefeated at home. But we got nothing but away games. So, the schedule can be tricky when it comes to American war, because it always is an away game. We don't have home field advantage. But we just have better players. We're good in the draft. Oh, God, I just read the draft. All right, enough of this analogy. America dropped 2 bombs, and we've been playing defense ever since. That's all you need to know. Killing it through the draft. Getting a lot of good prospects out there. But anyways, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, Willie Henry. Yeah, so I was just not surprised. Just not surprised at all. But people were, and it shocked me. And it goes like, people are worried about our pass rush. And I think what the Ravens are doing is the right way to kind of go about the pass rush situation. Don't invest in pass rushers. Invest in defensive coordinators, right? Someone who can scheme up pressure. Because if I'm going to break down what a sack is, right? So a sack is tackling the quarterback before he gets rid of the ball or before he throws the football, right? Now, there's many different ways to go about doing that. You could have good coverage, stack the line, get to him that way, have some stud pass rushers that can beat their man consistently, that get to the passer. But either way, it's all about decreasing that time in the pocket, decreasing that time that the quarterback has the ball in his hand. And I think the way the Ravens are going about it, their strategy is use a lot of blitzes and a lot of players at the line of scrimmage. Invest in your corners so that they can go one-on-one, so that way you can just send the house on defense to get to the quarterback. And I think in that aspect, I think it's cheaper, and it's a way to have a better defense. It's a way to build a team on defense that's cheaper, because I think, You can't really have a cornerback rotation. You can't really skimp on those guys. You have to invest largely into those guys because that's like an individual game amongst itself. Wide receiver versus cornerback. That's one-on-one. You need to invest in top-level guys. But with pass rush, I don't think you necessarily need that dude and pay him a lot of money because they get paid serious coin. And I think it ends up being a detriment to the team if that's how you want to build your defense and your team in general. But GMing-wise, you get a bunch of adequate skilled pass rushers, ones that you don't even have to pay. You can let them walk or be just good enough that they can stay for a cheaper deal. And that way you can just stack the box and get to the quarterback. Because like I said, it's getting to the quarterback as quick as possible. And the only way to really get sacks in this league, if you're playing a competent quarterback or a competent offense in general, is to beat your man or confuse the O-line. Now, if you have a stud that you're paying $15 million a year, he might straight up beat the guy off the line in a one-on-one situation, maybe 10, 15 times a game. But he doesn't quite get to the quarterback. He causes a quick throw, which is good. That's what you want. But I think the most important thing when it comes to that sack production is the quick win. Is the no one's blocking this guy, free run to the quarterback. And you're not going to get that if you're paying these studs, I guess, a lot of money. A huge chunk of your cap space is going to these pass rushers. Now, they will produce, but I think, your cornerback depth isn't as robust. You don't have the guy. And I think at cornerback you need the guy. Like I said, at pass rusher you don't need the guy. You just need a group of guys who can, get the scheme. Who can execute. That's the word I'm looking for. That can execute the scheme. Because if you got a good coordinator who can scheme up pressure, who can, get a free runner to the quarterback, that's how you get a sack. I don't really. If you're playing to Tom Brady, he's going to get the ball as quick as possible. Even if you get a free runner, he can still get the ball away. But in most situations, if you're playing a competent quarterback, he is going to get rid of the ball when he feels the pressure, right? We're playing Ryan Fitzpatrick this week. He is a veteran, so maybe he will get rid of that ball. But also, he is a risk taker, so we might be able to get tons and tons of sacks this week because he's going to try and hold the ball and make a play. But if he was smart, he would get rid of it. But, getting back to this team building kind of argument, trying to put it into like quick and concise words. And I feel like I already kind of did that, but I feel like I need to explain it more for whatever reason. If you didn't get it already, I just think building a team-wise, you got the salary cap, and you got to dump your money on the defense somewhere. And I think it's best to dump your money into the cornerback position because that is a one-on-one proposition each and every game. If you don't have a top-level cornerback, wide receivers will make him look silly, and you will get caught on for a bunch of yards, no matter how good your pass rush is. So it's good to have those guys one-on-one. Those be some of your highest-paid players, some of your best players on the team. Then with a good scheme and some players, honestly, just bodies, someone who can push the pocket, someone who can get free, then you can stack the O-line because I think it's easier to confuse an O-lineman and get a free runner than it is to straight up beat an O-lineman. And I think confusing the O-line is more consistent than one guy consistently getting to the quarterback because then you're betting too much on one guy. And you can say the same thing about a cornerback, but every single team is kind of doing that. Not every team is reliant on one pass rusher. And if you are relying on one guy, then the offensive line is just going to double team them and then deal with everybody else, one-on-one situations around the board. And so, with the crazy scheme, with good cornerbacks and kind of just a bunch of guys up front, you can mix and match. You can set people all over the place, but you got to have a good corner or a good coordinator that can scheme things up. And we got that in Don Wink Martindale. And I hope he, after the season, just stays with the team, because I think we're once again going to put up a bunch of sacks, and we're just like, oh, well, I guess that's the Ravens. That was my neck. Can you hear that? Oh, yeah, buddy. Woo. My neck's a little stiff. I don't know why. I guess I'm sick a little bit. So yeah, man. Just I love this style that we're going with, and I think that defensive style, it makes it easier to draft. It makes it easier on the cap. It makes it easier with the team, because if you got a corner who's killing it, it's like, obviously we need to pay him, right? And now pass rusher, it's like, meh, it's more of the scheme. You can let those guys walk and then just bring in young talent. Because like the Dolphins are doing, they are rebuilding, right? And, I just thought about this the other day. This whole rebuilding kind of thing, tanking and rebuilding. You don't want to call it tanking, but, teams rebuild. The Browns did a rebuild. And what is a rebuild? And basically what it consists of is just stacking draft picks and bringing in as many young people as you can. And so that's what rebuilding is. But why is that considered a rebuild? Why isn't that just a normal occurrence in teams? Because teams like to trade their draft picks to get someone else, right? But I think what I like about the Ravens and Eric DeCosta, they have a pretty decent team right now. I think one of the best teams in the league. But, they have around the league viewed, I guess, a decent team. A lot of questions, but they've been stacking draft picks for the past 3-4 years. And so is that a rebuild? Because I never really perceived the Ravens to be rebuilding. I think it's got to be constant, right? I think every year you should strive to have 10 plus draft picks. And then you're always kind of rebuilding, replenishing the talent. And I don't understand why these teams feel the need, oh, now we got to do it the right way. It's like, why aren't you trying to do it the right way the whole time? Just sometimes it sucks. Sometimes, you see the shiny penny and you want to pick them up. But it's not that much money, man. Or, analogy-wise, it's not worth it. Just stick with your guns, use your draft picks, and then just replenish your team. It'll be deeper. It'll be, and you're more likely to hit on talent. Because if you're getting a free agent, he wasn't wanted by the team he just came from. Reasons why? It's situation by situation. But he wasn't wanted by his team anymore. Or the team isn't willing to pay him as much as you were about to. And you don't really know the guy. You just seen what he does on the field. He could be a complete asshole. Look at Antonio Brown right now. They might suspend him. He might be off the Raiders in general. Who fucking knows? But, why? Why is it, oh, now we gotta get into the cocoon. We gotta go into the rebuilding phase. Why don't you just consistently get as many draft picks as you can and consistently bring dudes in and out? You're eventually going to pick up a pretty good squad. And that's what I love what the Ravens are doing. Don't be afraid to pay your cornerstone people. And I think Ronnie Stanley and Marlon Humphrey are the guys that we have to pay. Peanut, maybe. After that, it's just kind of keep bringing in talent, Just recycle this team over and over again. I just think every team's goal should be to get 10 plus draft picks, and you can tell the teams with the most draft picks usually end up being a better team. You can buy as many players as you want, but this ain't baseball, okay? You can't buy yourself a good team. You just can't. That's just the way football is. So this is kind of a long episode. I ended up talking about some team building stuff. More than I thought I would, as this was supposed to be a preview for the Dolphins. But, what is there to preview? If the Ravens don't start out 2-0, then we got some issues on our hands. And the thing about that is, we could start off 2-0, and everyone's going to say we're frauds because we played the Dolphins and the Cardinals. But week 3, who do we play week 3? Check this out real quick. Just a double, triple check, you know what I'm saying? Discount, double, triple check. Let's see here. You're gonna open up. Yeah. All right. Oh yeah. So Kansas City, week 3. If we beat Kansas City, then we'll finally get some respect. But until then, I will be triggered. You guys don't get triggered. Do as I say, not as I do. What is that? Is that the phrase? Either way, because if we go 2-0, which we should. If we want to have any sort of success this year, we better beat these two teams. We better beat tanking for Tua and the Miracle Murrays. I don't know what to call them, but both of these teams, bottom of the barrel, we should be able to go 2-0. And don't get mad when the Ravens don't get respect. It's okay. Let them sleep. Just wait till after we beat Kansas City in a revenge game with Lamar. Then you can talk shit. I'm going to be talking shit the whole time, but you guys. So, that being said, like I said, 42-6, that's what I'm looking at. Like I said, don't like making that such a blowout as a prediction, but you know what? Fuck it. We're going for broke. So, thank you for listening. Like it, comment, subscribe to it. I am a podcast. I'm on all podcasting platforms, or if you're just like YouTube, I am there. You continue with that. I really don't care as long as you're getting the content and you like it. I'm gonna get off this. I'm gonna rest my voice, take some pills. I don't know what I'm gonna take. I don't have any here, so I've got to go to the store to get rid of this sickness. So thank you for listening, and I will leave you with a Go Ravens. That's a sickness version. Go Ravens.